You're listening to Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles, and I'm Donald because I have to be. And we're back with Ken Phillips. Well, we talked a little before about the way you were before your development. Can you describe the first time a woman reacted to you in a way that indicated that you had really changed?
Well, the big thing in my mind is when I got the girl that I had been attracted to for 5 years. For 5 years, I had looked at this girl, I had known this girl, and we had sort of interactions. But she would never really want to spend all that much time with me.
Okay.
As luck would have it, she took a bit of a leave of absence. I took a bit of a leave of absence to go work on myself. And we both put ourselves back into the environment where we knew each other. Things just clicked. I mean, I used every ounce of skill that I had developed. Because I remember walking into the situation where she had come back, I had come back, and I saw her standing there, and I went, okay, I've spent years now working on this area of my life, developing the skill. If it's not for a situation like this, I don't know what it would be for. And I remember going up to her and running my game, satisfying her emotional needs, and just seeing the difference in the way she looked at me was astounding. And before long, we were going out on a date, and the date became 2 dates, and 2 dates became 3 dates. And before long, we were having sex, and once became twice, became 3 times, and we just dated for a little bit of time. I'm not going to say how long, but we did date for a little while. And the fact that even happened was mind-blowing. It completely shifted how I saw myself and how I saw the world, and it really signaled to me, yeah, this thing that I've been working on, it's not simply in my mind. I've definitely changed.
Right. Yeah, the change is real.
Mm-hmm.
You had said in the beginning one of your goals was to lose your virginity. What were some of the long-term goals that you set on your journey that you eventually accomplished?
Other than losing my virginity, I wanted to date a girl who I had known before I started my journey.
Right.
Who was the girl and that ended up being the girl I was attracted to for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to be in an open relationship at one point just to see what that was like, which I did do, and it was quite the interesting experience. I really wanted to date a blonde girl because when I was in kindergarten, the first girl I ever had a crush on was this cute little blonde girl who I still remember to this day.
Huh.
And ever since that point, I had always wanted to date a blonde girl. I was fortunate enough to be in situations where the type of girl that I was attracted to was blonde, and ended up having at least a few relationships with a blonde girl. And in general, one of the overriding goals was just to be in great relationships, which I've also done. And it is an amazing, amazing experience to be in a relationship where you're appreciated and respected, and to have a relationship where that is just the norm, where you don't have to work for it and it's just there. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Wow, okay. Well, changing gears just a little bit, I know you just came out with a new book, so tell me about becoming an author.
Well, being an author is quite an interesting experience. There's something very fulfilling. It feels almost like a part of you is being completed. And I don't know if it's something that you can ever really get used to. I had an experience not too long ago where I was talking about a certain situation. And I said, do you have my book? Because this is a situation I wrote about in exercise whatever. And he's like, well, yeah. And he pulls it out of his bag. And he flips to the page, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. While he was reading the answer that I had written in there, I'm thinking, oh my God, he has my book. And he's reading the answer that I wrote exactly for this purpose. Wow.
So what exactly do you want people to take away from the book, or what is the book for if someone was to, be interested in maybe ordering it or finding out more about it?
Well, the book is for someone to develop the eye of the seducer, so that you know for certain what the process of attraction is, and that the process of attraction is not a completely mystical, magical thing. It's something that can be explained, and it's something that can be described with quite a bit of certainty. Before I got into the study of this, love and attraction and relationships just seemed like this mystical thing. It's like, I remember thinking and asking when I was a kid, why do two people get together? And I remember getting a whole slew of different answers. Well, opposites attract. People who spend a lot of time together end up getting together. Well, it was just the right thing. It just happened. All sorts of different answers. And it wasn't until I learned about the emotional needs and how the emotional needs work that I really thought to myself, wow, this is it. This is the way to explain why attraction is the way it is, how it happens, and how you can actually do something about attraction, to have it in your life, to have it in your relationships. So there's one takeaway message from the book. It's that attraction is not a mystical thing. Learning about attraction is possible. Learning to create and maintain attraction is possible, and that's the point of the book.
And where can people find out more about the book?
It's on the front page of franktalks.com. You just got to scroll down and look for the big green cover. That's ENA Volume 1, the I Seducer.
ENA Volume 1, okay.
Sorry, ENA Volume 2.
Oh, sorry, for Volume 2, okay. So what type of sacrifices did you have to make to accomplish all of this, everything you have?
One of the things that I found that I had to get rid of really early on were a lot of the thinking behavior patterns that I had. A lot of them were extremely negative and extremely bad for my mental health and who I was in general. The reason, though, that I kept engaging with them was that because the world around me was so unpredictable that anything familiar was comforting. Anything familiar offered security. In a sense, those negative thinking patterns were good for me, just because it offered some level of comfort, some level of familiarity. Because when the world around you is going crazy, first thing most people do is look for something familiar, something they understand, something that they can hold on to and get some stability from. And because of my past, those negative behavior patterns were the only thing that I had around me that were comforting and familiar. And when I set out on the process of learning about relationships and just bettering myself in general, those were one of the first things that had to go. They served no purpose other than providing comfort. And as anyone can attest who's done any sort of change work, if you want to change, it's going to be uncomfortable. Just because you're going to be doing things that you're not used to doing, you're pushing your own comfort level, your zone of comfort, and that act in itself forces feelings of anxiety and uncomfortableness. So when those behavior patterns and thinking patterns went, I was really anxious for a lot of the time. But it was definitely something that had to go, or else I would never have been able to change.
That's it sounds like an important lesson that guys should be aware of if they're going to try to make the kind of change that you have. It's good to know. We're just going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. You're listening to Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles, and we'll be right back after this.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by The Eye of the Seducer, the Emotional Needs Analysis Workbook, Volume 1. This workbook is designed to teach you to use the Frank B. Kermit seduction theories in the real world. It is based on Frank's book, Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test. What you're going to buy is the program developed by Frank as the head administrator of the Toronto Seduction Lair, specifically designed for newbies that want to learn relationship skills with women in the shortest time possible. These emotional needs analysis drills will skyrocket your success with women. This book teaches men how to think on their feet, not what to think. Never be stuck for something to say or do again. Finally, love will make sense, and you'll learn the skills to see through the games of others. Know what you did right, know what you did wrong, and what to do next. Buy this workbook now at franktalks.com.